Hello, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been away for a little while, uni's kind of just taken over. Second year is intense. But this week I will be doing a video on how to find a house for second year at university. So the structure of this video is going to be firstly timing, secondly who to live with, thirdly how to find your house, and then lastly just some general tips. So some people will suggest that you find a house before you know who you're going to live with. Personally, I would not do this purely because for most houses you're all going to be on one contract. So I would only suggest doing this in one scenario, and that is if you really just don't care who you end up living with. For the most part, you're going to want to find who you want to live with and then find your house afterwards. So moving on to my first point, when is the best time to start looking? The very first thing I'm going to do is dispel this belief that everything has to be sorted before Christmas. This is so untrue. This is such a common thing that will spread around freshers, and honestly it really stressed me out, but there's no need to worry about it. If you can get it all sorted before Christmas, then great, but honestly if you can't, then do not worry. So moving on to who you're going to live with. Now this is a really personal thing. Some people will choose to live with their flatmates from first year, other people will live with their friends from clubs or societies or from their course. So there's not really much guidance I can give you on this because it's such a personal thing. But one thing I will say is do not feel pressured into living with anyone you don't want to, and also just make sure to consider what your priorities are for a housemate, whether that's them being really clean and tidy or quiet or whatever. Just be aware as well that often the bigger houses do go first, so if you are in a big group then you're going to want to try and sort that out earlier. So moving on to how to find your house. Before you even start looking at a house, you're going to want to decide what your priorities are going to be. Some people will want to be really close to the university, others will want to be close to the city. Some people might want an ensuite, others might prefer to have a bigger kitchen. Everyone's preferences just really vary. Just make sure to all be really honest at the start of the process and say what you want in a house. This will just make your life so much easier when you actually get to the stage of looking for houses. So how to find a house. As I said before, most people will all end up on one contract together. This is why most people then prefer to find their friends rather than find the house first. If you do go to UEA, then I would 100% advise looking on Home Run. And if you're at another university, then definitely look whether your university offers a similar thing to this. We did personally have bad experiences with estate agents, and I've heard so many horror stories. So personally, I would advise just to avoid them at all costs if you can. Personally, we gave up on estate agents when they just didn't turn up to the house viewing. Now on this one I can't speak from personal experience because we haven't got a house through them, but there is a website called Uni Homes. On this website all of the houses are including bills. Now sometimes this can work out a lot more expensive, other times it can be cheaper. It's just really up to you to go through and compare how much you would have spent on bills if they weren't included in the price. Generally, I personally spend about £20 a month on bills, but then our landlord pays for the water and the Wi-Fi. So realistically, if your rent doesn't include any bills, I'd probably double this price, maybe add a little bit more on, so I'd say between £40 and £50 a month on bills. Definitely make sure to view your house at least once in person and make sure all of you go to that if possible. I'd even recommend viewing it twice before you sign anything. This is just because there'll always be things that you notice on a second viewing that you didn't notice on the first. As I said, if possible, then all try to go to the viewing rather than just some of the housemates. For example, when you're allocating rooms, it could cause tension if people haven't seen the rooms or they get given the smallest room when they haven't seen. I've heard of that before. And definitely make sure to view multiple houses that could work for your group because you don't want to get your heart set on one and then it goes and you've got no backup option. So then lastly, general tips. Firstly, if you can get a house that's on separate contracts for all of you, I definitely recommend this. This just means that if anyone decides to move out early or leave their course early or anything, then financially the rest of you aren't liable for the house. When it comes to signing contracts, I know the small print is really boring, but it's really important that you read it. Try and get your parents or someone else to read it as well, just to see if there's anything that you've missed in there. I'm not going to expand on this, but from experience I can say that it will make your life a lot easier in the long run. On your first day, definitely make sure just to note down and take any photos of any damage in the house, and definitely make sure that your smoke alarms work as well. And lastly, just don't rush. When we moved into our house late August and I had the idea for doing this video, I looked on Uni Homes just to see what was still available, and honestly there were so many nice houses still available, I was really shocked. So that is me done for today, but as always, if this video has been helpful then please don't forget to like and subscribe, and happy house hunting.